The Tao of Self-Confidence, Episode 45. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of successful women finding their inner journey to self-confidence 5 days a week. Subscribe to our newsletter by visiting thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Hello, friend. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap Chan, and today I have an amazing woman on the show today. You know, she is on fire. She is from Burnaby, BC, and I've met her at a couple of events, and we actually communicate a lot through the internet, right? The power of the internet is just so amazing who you can connect with, and you know, she's just an amazing internet marketer and a business coach. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Sue Sierra. Sue, thank you for coming to the Tao of Self-Confidence. How are you? And maybe you can fill in the blanks a little bit more about yourself to the listeners.
Sure. Thanks, Sheena. Hi. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, I'm a mom of 3. My kids are 16, 13, and 10. And I live in, like you said, Vernon, where I'm sure nobody has ever heard of. It's a small town in BC, Canada. It's actually where I was born and raised, but I got out of here as fast as I possibly could when I graduated from high school. So I spent most of my adult life in Vancouver, Canada, which I'm sure you've heard of, and then just recently moved back here to my hometown. So life here as an adult with kids is much different, obviously, than as a teenager, and an interesting experience, to say the least.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And what's your cultural background?
Well, I'm born and raised in Canada. My mom was British. My dad grew up in Canada, as did his parents in Vancouver. And yeah, that's about it.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that, Sue. And Sue, what would be what's your favorite self-confidence quote?
Thought about that one. I love Wayne Dyer and always have always quoted him, and now he's gone, and I just feel like anytime I think of quotes, his always pop into my head. And one of them for sure to do with self-confidence, I think this totally relates, is his quote, "What other people think of me is none of my business."
I love that. Right? I mean, because especially as women too, right? We always focus on what other people think of us. And it gets to the point where we don't take action in our own lives. We just end up in this little box that we surround ourselves in and be comfortable in that. And we just have to realize that sometimes it doesn't really matter what people think of us, because in this world, we're always getting judged. No matter what happens, right? You do something funny, you do something good, you do something bad, you're always judged. So you might as well, not even care what other people think. So thanks for sharing that. And what would be your definition of self-confidence in your own words?
Being comfortable in your own skin. And again, that to me has a lot to do with letting go of what other people think of you. And I found that for me, it's just been the older I get, the more comfortable I get, and the less I care, what other people think. But it's kind of always been there. And like you said, as a woman, definitely, it's hard to, to not be concerned about what other people think. So yeah, just being comfortable in your own skin and dreaming big and actually doing things to get there, to achieve your goals and to, realize those dreams. Because I think just being concerned about what others think is, like you said, it's what holds us back. It stops us from getting things done that we want to do. And, the more you care about what other people think, the less you do.
For sure. I mean, it just causes a lot of inaction, and then, that's how most people get stuck, right? Because they care way too much. So I really love that. And it's true. We all have to be comfortable in our own skin, right? I mean, how else can people accept us for who we are if we can't even start with ourselves? So thanks for sharing that, Sue. And, Sue, what was your life like before the discovery of self-confidence?
Well, I would say uncomfortable in my own skin. And, I've kind of been on the journey of finding self-confidence from a very young age, through my teen years. Was not confident, but feel like I really learned a lot around that time too. So it's just kind of been an ongoing growth since then. But yeah, definitely, insecure. Just, really worrying about what other people were going to say or do. I think especially when you're putting yourself out there in the way that we do, podcasts, videos, social media, it opens yourself up to be criticized, And yeah, so I would say before I started getting more confidence, it was uncomfortable, definitely.
Thanks for sharing that. And I know a lot of women out there probably have that same feeling of being uncomfortable with themselves and trying to do new things, right? Especially when like totally brand new. You have no clue what you're doing.
Yeah, which happens all the time. Like with technology, it's like, oh, here's a new thing. You got to learn this and you got to do it now, right? Go live from your, wherever you are, go live now. Live streaming, right? So yeah, it's just we have to constantly be going with the flow.
For sure. And, what was that moment in your life when you realized, you are capable of doing the things that you love, you can be comfortable in your own skin and be able to just live life on your own terms?
I thought about this one. There's been quite a few moments for me, actually. But I would say a big one, and I almost hate to give this as an example because it sounds so cliche, but when I watched the movie The Secret, that changed things for me. That opened up a whole new perspective that I couldn't really put my finger on. I knew that, or I could see, after watching that movie, of all the different things that had happened in my life up until that point, and that came out, that was 2007 or something. So yeah, just thinking about like even back to when I was a kid and the things that I had manifested in my life. And for me, The Secret just sort of clarified and confirmed all of the things that I had sort of been piecing together over the years. So that was kind of the moment, and that just really began a journey of personal growth and discovering books, lots of books and lots of audio recordings from people like Abraham Hicks and Wayne Dyer and Kevin Trudeau and Mike Dooley. And, those are just kind of some of my favorites. But it was the movie The Secret. I kind of saw it before like the big commercial hype, and then it just kind of became this thing where, people loved it, but then they thought some major parts were left out and they didn't focus on the action enough. And that's fine, fair enough, right? Of course, you don't just sit here all day and, eat chips and dream about all the great things that are going to happen in your life. You have to like get off your ass and do something. But for me, it was an eye opener. And I think it was for a lot of people too. And yeah, definitely a huge moment for me.
Awesome. So The Secret was also my aha moment when I realized, whatever I thought of, like the law of attraction, that was the first time I even knew about the law of attraction. And when I was thinking back to my, days back as, my early 20s or, as a kid, I was like, wow, that's so true, because when I thought of something, it just happened. And I mean, I'm not saying it appeared right before my eyes, but it led me to the actions to get to that goal that I was thinking of unconsciously, right? So yeah, it's so important, listeners, when you're thinking of something, think of something that you want, focus on the things that you want, because, whoever you believe in will start giving you clues, right? Will start giving you clues, directions, opportunities for you to take action on it.
And the right people come into your life and the right circumstances, and things just start lining up. Like when you can look back at situations in your life, you can see all the different steps that happen. The person that you met that went to this conversation, and then you ended up meeting somebody else and talking about this, and just like all these different steps to make something happen. And you realize like it happened because you were focused on it and you believed in it and you thought about it, right? It's not going to happen if you don't think about it in your mind first.
For sure, it creates that ripple effect, that we want to see in our lives. So, Sue, after watching the movie The Secret, realizing your potential, what's your life like now?
Well, that's a funny question. It's been an absolute roller coaster ride, like the highest of highs and the lowest of lows pretty much since then. But it has filled my life with joy and happiness ongoing, and really just being able to handle the stuff that's been thrown at me. And for, people who know some of the things that have happened in my life in the last number of years, I really believe that this journey of personal growth has taught me and how to deal with those situations and kind of look at them like, wow, this is like completely unexpected and crazy and, not awful, but slightly traumatic. But these new, beliefs and confidence in myself and new way of thinking just allows me to deal with those things and look at them like somehow this is going to be a blessing. Somehow, because I'm going through this, like just as an example, the reason I ended up moving back to my hometown is because I was in Vancouver, 3 kids, husband, who is now my ex-husband. We had a business and it fell apart. We got evicted from our home, with the kids and had to move back into my stepmom's basement. So it was, one of those basement stories. But if I hadn't, I believe too that all this personal growth stuff came to me at the exact right time, because it allowed me to deal with something as, crazy as that in a way that, I really always believed that it was happening for a reason. There's some reason I'm going back to my hometown that I never in a million years was ever going back to. And there's some reason that, that this business isn't working out the way it was supposed to. And it's all, this huge, experience is completely changing the course of my life and taking it in a direction that it wouldn't go unless this happened. So it's just, leading me to the next thing. And I never would have thought like that before, So it's definitely made me able to handle things on a much different level and look at everything as just, it's supposed to be. It's just part of the whole big puzzle that fits together.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And it's true, right? In life, we're going to go through, hurdles, obstacles, challenges, and there's just some things we can't control, right? But the things we can control is how we react to them, right? And I think, just being in that personal development journey, we just learn how to handle things better because we've done it before, we've been there, we know that something positive can always come out of this, right? So I appreciate, sharing that story. I mean, I'm pretty sure the listeners, can start believing in themselves too, that, anything, no matter how bad that situation can be, something good can always come out of it. And Sue, to the woman who's listening to your episode, she's listening to your story, she's getting inspired to take action in her own life, in her own journey to self-confidence. What would be that one tip you would give to her?
Read, or in my case it was listen. I prefer an audiobook to a paper book. I personally don't think it matters. Take the information in whatever way is best for you, but soak up some information that maybe you hadn't thought of before. Maybe it hasn't been a part of your life yet, but I would seek out that information. I mentioned a bunch of great authors to you already, and the movie The Secret, all of that stuff. For me, that was it. Just immerse yourself in stuff that's going to help you with your thinking, because really that's what it all boils down to. So if you can change the way you think, then, the potential is unlimited of what you can actually do in your life. It's quite amazing. So, and like seeking out all of the woo-woo stuff, like that's been the stuff that's worked great for me, like meditating and doing affirmations and all that kind of stuff that used to seem so weird to me is now so normal and so necessary for creating the life that I have now and and that I want to continue to create. So yeah, biggest thing is just immerse yourself in good, awesome information that's going to help you grow as a person.
Thank you, Sue. Those are some great tips. And Sue, if the listeners wanted to get to know a little bit more about you, or wanted to know more about your services in internet marketing or in business, is there a link that we can go to, or any social media profiles that we can connect with?
Yeah, for sure. I would say find me on Facebook. I have a link that you can go that'll just take you right to my Facebook, and it's SueSierra.net/Facebook, or just search for me, Sue Sierra. My last name is spelled pretty much like it sounds, Sierra. And I'm always there, so that's the best place to find me for sure.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. So to the listeners out there, if you want to connect with Sue, you can also head over to thetaoofselfconfidence.com and search for Sue's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else we talked about. And I just really want to thank Sue for taking the time to share her story, share her viewpoints on self-confidence and how it's helped her in her own life. So Sue, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks, Sheena.
No problem. And to the listeners out there, be on the lookout for another new episode of another woman's amazing journey to self-confidence, and we will talk to you soon. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to another amazing episode of the Tao of Self-Confidence. Check out our resources to help you jumpstart your inner journey to self-confidence by visiting thetaoofselfconfidence.com.